Hello, my gorgeous friends on the internet. Okay, last video was exciting. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it, because I was able to, just talk freely with you guys. So, we actually looked at we actually uploaded our first wallpaper to Firebase, and you guys saw how the data was structured on the console, right? Okay, so today this video we are going to be fetching those wallpaper and then displaying it in our application. So in case you don't know how to fetch data from Firebase, yeah, this is it. You guys are going to see how to do that and make it possible, right? All right, and so to get started now, we're going to go to our page. Remember, we have already created this page called like this page, which is the home page, where we're going to be displaying all the data that has been added. Okay, and this other page is to display the data that has been downloaded by a particular user. Okay, wallpaper page. Okay, this is it, and nothing is happening here, just a dummy test, right? So the first thing we want to do to actually get our data from Firebase is to first of all create a collection reference. Okay, so if you could remember, when we created our wallpaper provider page, we actually created an instance and then we created a collection reference. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So let me copy this all wallpaper page. I'm going to be creating the collection reference here, and so see what we can do now is to go to this page, right, above the build method. So I'm going to create a variable and I will call this collection reference. So the collection reference must actually match the collection we want to get the data from. Okay, so in case you have multiple collection, make sure the collection reference is also unique based on the data you want to get. Okay, so I will say dot instance dot collection, and then in this case now I'll just pass in this stuff here. Okay, so you can see the collection reference. In this our case here, this other case, I actually created this variable product, this Firestore instance separately, right? It's still the same thing, Firebase Firestore for instance, but in this other case, I just created it directly. Firestore database, Firebase Firestore.instance.collection. Okay, and that's it to actually get the collection where we want to get the data from. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, I've just gotten rid of this body. Okay, you can save it. The body now is off, right? And so what I can do now is just to create, because we'll be using a future builder. You can decide to use stream builder, but stream builder actually will be making requests more often, so I won't really advise that. But I will advise you can only use stream builder when you are building a chat application. Okay, whereby once the message is sent, the other user is going to receive it immediately. Okay, but in the case of future builder, you have to refresh that page for it to show again. Okay, all right. The first thing I want to do is to create a body. So since I said I'll be using a future builder for this, we need to create the builder and the other thing that are needed. Okay, so the builder first, let's start with builder. So the builder takes in the context and the snapshot, right? So in this case, the snapshot is actually I think snapshot of objects, but if we use it that way, we won't be able to get the data we want. So I'm going to actually add the data type myself. Okay, so I will say a sync snapshot, and this is supposed to be a query snapshot, like so. Okay, yep. So this one we can actually get the data better. And so the first thing we want to do is to check if the snapshot has data while we are fetching it. So if snapshot that has data, okay, so if it has data, what do we do? And then we check if the data is empty or not. Okay, but let that one be like that first. So if it does not have any data, what we can do is just to show a simple dialog. So we can just show like a circular progress indicator. Okay, to actually show that okay, there's no data, but please wait, we are actually going to get your data later, like it's fetching the data for us. Okay, then that aside, the next one now we can do is like to check if the user's doc, like if there's any data in the database, okay, after it has been returned, right? So what I can do in this case now is to check if the snapshot data dot docs. So this docs now is a list of the items that are inside the collection. Okay, dot docs, but we need to check if it's empty. So if it's empty, then we can just return. You can return any widget you want, depending on how you want your app to be. But in my case, I will just return no wallpaper. Then else, if there is data inside, I'll first of all get the data. So I'll just say snapshot. So now we have the data. You don't have to be scared anymore. And then we can have the get the docs, which is a list, like so. Then what I can do now, since we're going to be using a grid view, so in this case I will just wrap the grid view with a container, and we can add some padding to that container. So it's going to be like an edge and sets dot all. Okay, so this is going to be 10. Yep. Then we're going to have a child. I'll be using grid view dot count. So you can use staggered grid view for this, depending on how you want your grid view to look. You can actually use a list view, depending. So it just depends on what you want to accomplish. And then we can have let me set the crux axis count to 2, and also the main axis count as well. Main axis spacing, I'll set that to 5, and let's say cross axis spacing to 5. Okay, I think I'm mixing my keyboard. So child aspect ratio, so you need to be careful with this, but I think I just know the ratio. I tried many ratios before I could be able to get my actual one. So you can actually try 0.3, 0.4, just see how it changes, because you learn more when you practice this stuff. Alright, then the list, for this case I'll be using list.generate. Then the length is going to be from the data.length. Remember, the docs we are getting here now is actually a list. Okay, then we can actually return the actual widget we want to return. So in this case, I need to get the image first, and using, okay, let's say image.index. I need to get the data image. I think that it's okay. Let's just say that way, like the data inside the list. And then I can now return. Okay, sorry, I think I'll just have to get this stuff done quickly. So what we can do now is just to return a simple what is it called, a simple container. Alright, so see what is happening here now. Let's terminate this stuff. Okay, so see what is happening here now. Remember, this price too can be, we can actually put a price, right? So I gave you the container with a height of 250 with a border radius and decoration image. So I added the image here, which is the wallpaper image, and it's coming from network. Then I called image dot get, which is the variable coming from data, which is an async document snapshot from Firebase. So I use image dot get, then the wallpaper image. Note this wallpaper image is similar to what we actually did here. If you go to this add wallpaper provider, make sure the payload you sent is the same thing. You can see wallpaper image and the image. Make sure it's the same thing. If not, you won't be able. You'll be getting some error like data it does not exist or stuff like that. Okay, so we are getting the image and then applying it. Okay, and then here now child, I just return a center widget, like so. If the image dot get price is equal to an empty string, so we just return an empty string like a empty test widget. But if it's not, then we just return the price. So we need to show the users the price of what that wallpaper is worth. Okay, you can get it. So let me save this up now. You're going to see this in action. Okay, now it's loading, so we need to wait for it. But I think something is wrong, because our collection here is not actually seen properly. So what we can do is just to do a hot restart for this stuff to actually fetch and display. But while that is doing, I'm going to wrap this container with a gesture detector, because we actually need to view the image that we added and then apply the wallpaper. So what I'm going to do is just to wrap this stuff with a gesture detector, like so. So this page is actually going to navigate to the next page. Alright, so right now I don't know why that thing keeps loading and why we can't really get the data. Okay, so let me see my debug console if there's any error coming out from somewhere. A response. So let's see if you can print out something here to actually know what the issue might be. Okay, snapshot of data. So I need to know what the issue is. It's printing null. And why is it null? It's not supposed to be null. Okay, I think I missed something because this theme seems as though it is not being used because okay, I didn't use a future. Yep, so future is supposed to be the place where we are going to fetch the data. So there was no future for this, my bad. So I was supposed to call, I just created the builder without actually creating a future, okay? So we're going to have a wallpaper dot, that should be dot get. Yep, dot get, my bad. So let's save that. It should get because the future is actually going to make request to Firebase and yep, so the data is here. Yeah, you can see the image. Okay, so my bad, I really didn't, I was supposed to call the future to actually call the future and then the future will make the request and then the builder is going to return this request. But currently now nothing is happening. If you click on it, nothing is happening. But so far you've seen how to fetch data from Firebase. So what about this page? How is it going to be like if there was price? So let's try and upload an image that has a price. So this I'm going to give it a price of let's say 500. Then upload the image. Let's just find one image there. Okay, then I'll upload it. Okay, so uploading image, wait for it. Successful. So let's go back and see. Remember I said this was a future builder, so we have to refresh that page. I'll just go to download and come back to it again. It's going to load and you can see now you've seen that 500, which is the price because this one actually has a price to it. Okay, so in the next video we're going to see how to display this wallpaper. Once we display it, then we can actually look at how to apply the wallpaper. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video.